So good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Environmental Social Justice. I would like to first introduce Ms. Joy Langford, our environmental consultant.
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning. And our very special guest, I have been waiting for this interview for months, Mr. Mike Harriel. He is the Senior Public Affairs Manager of Southern California Gas Company, all called SoCal Gas. One of my favorite people, but also today Mike is going to talk about all of the good that SoCal Gas is doing, all of the new technology they're developing with respect to renewable energy and how they are evolving with the times with the rest of the country. So Mike, please join us.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Well, Mike, you guys are doing some really good stuff and really moving the needle in the climate change discussion going on. It used to be that the gas company was about turning gas on your home for a fireplace or, to cook with. But you're really moving the discussion over into other areas, including, vehicle hydrogen in vehicles, working on the climate change issue. Tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that you guys are doing at the gas company.
Yeah, we're more than just a gas company now. We're evolving into more of an energy company. California has some very aggressive climate goals, and we are invested in helping to meet those goals. And the way that we're doing that is with a lot of new technologies and a lot of new things on the horizon. One of our goals is to take the fossil out of the fuel, and also to look at renewable gases such as renewable natural gas, hydrogen. There are a lot of he gets excited about hydrogen. There are a lot of technologies on the horizon that we are spearheading, and we're working with third-party experts to fine-tune those so that they can be part of the climate solution, not only in California, but I'm sure nationwide.
That one of the things I do want to talk about, but first I believe there's a video that you wanted me to share.
Yeah, we have a video. So we recently made a climate commitment, and the video explains in detail what that is and what that means. And if you could show it, and then afterwards we can talk about it or have some discussions.
Absolutely. And so wish me luck. I did do a trial run of this, but we're live now, so God knows what's going to happen. So hold on.
A transformation is here, centuries in the making, that will advance the lives of millions of people. Welcome to the evolution of energy. California set the goal to become carbon neutral by 2045. Energy demand double over the 24 years, with the population growing to over 50 million residents. We solve this massive challenge. The solution is a combined blend of innovative technologies around new forms of renewable gases, solar, wind, fuel cells, and carbon capture. At SoCal Gas, our mission is to be the cleanest, safest, and most innovative energy company in America. And we are committed to achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2045. The reality is, some of the technologies that will get us there haven't even been invented. But there are 4 innovative technologies that have us well on our way. Renewable gas, where waste streams are harnessed and reused to make power, becoming emissions negative. Power to gas, where excess renewable electricity is used to create renewable gas and hydrogen, which can be stored, transported, and utilized for decades. Hydrogen fuel cells, where people can reliably power their homes, businesses, and transportation with net zero emissions. And Carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration, where carbon can be captured and utilized in new production processes for products of the future. After all, decarbonization isn't new for us. We've already reduced distribution emission rates to 0.25%, while continuing to serve our 22 million customers without sacrificing reliability, resiliency, or affordability. When California wanted to reduce pipeline emissions 20% by 2025, SoCal Gas met the goal by 2021. In 2010, renewable gas wasn't even in use. By 2022, we will reach 5% capacity throughout our infrastructure, and 20% by 2030. On the journey to net zero, our mission is more than words. It's our ethos that guides every aspect of our business. What does clean look like? Clean is decarbonizing the gas grid. Clean is turning waste into energy. Clean is utilizing excess renewable energy. What does safe look like? Safe is the diversity of clean energy sources. Safe is industry-leading protocols. Safe is the diversity of thought and culture. What does innovation look like? Innovation is evolving into a tech-first infrastructure company. Innovation is expanding the potential of renewable energy. Innovation is leading the evolution of energy. Our commitment is to make the air we breathe and the neighborhoods we share cleaner, safer, and more innovative, because our evolution is our legacy.
That's exciting.
I love that video. I am so excited with everything you guys are doing. I mean, renewable gas, powered energy, using hydrogen fuel cells, the infrastructure that's going in, the bills that Joy is working on, helping to bring this to reality, the jobs, the technology, the engineers you're going to need. This is just, please tell us everything. This is so remarkable.
Yeah, wow, there's some, I love that video. Every time I see it, I come up with different things that I want to make sure that I share with everyone. And I think to start off, I want to say that I think you're going to find, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of people think of SoCal Gas as just a gas company, but I think you're going to find that we are leading the evolution of energy. And the reason why I say that is we're not just focused on one particular technology. You know, there are a lot of folks that just want to electrify everything. You know, electric is good, but we can't have just electric. And at SoCal Gas, we're looking at all of the different technologies that can be used to help us reach our climate goals. Decarbonization isn't just electrifying. Decarbonization is renewable natural gas, it's hydrogen, it's fuel cells. And one thing that we have coming up is we are building a demonstration house, a hydrogen house, so that we can show elected officials and legislators and folks like you, Wendy, and Joy, so that you can come by and view and see what a house of the future will look like on just hydrogen. So we're really excited about all the things that we're doing and we have coming up.
I am there with bells on.
Working on at the legislature is AB 662, which Assemblywoman Burke is spearheading. Our office is really spearheading to increase the infrastructure for hydrogen here in the state of California. It's one thing for Toyota to put a hydrogen vehicle on the street, but yet there's no infrastructure for fueling the vehicle. So we're really putting together with this initiative a way to build the infrastructure with the gas company and various other utilities to forge a way ahead. And I know not particularly Mike's work at SoCal, but his soldiers are really out there at SoCal having community meetings down in Wilmington, Compton, down at the boys clubs, boys and girls clubs in the area, really educating people on the use of gas and the pros and the cons of gas as we use it now, and then how we're going to use it in the future. Mike, can you talk a little bit about the community development that you guys are really out there heftily doing, especially pre-COVID?
Yeah, Joe, you made a good point where it is education. It's just informing the general public and also the legislators and the elected officials on what we're doing and why it's important. And sometimes that can be a difficult message to get across because, some folks have their preconceived ideas and they run with them. But we provide the education so that individuals can be open and to understand what we're doing to move climate change and some of the opportunities that are out there. And so, like you mentioned, renewable natural gas. Renewable natural gas is, you might want to think it's at its infancy, but renewable natural gas has been around for quite a long time. It's heavy in transportation, MTA, Big Blue Bus, Culver City Transit, they all run on renewable natural gas, their buses. Over at Hyperion, which I'm sure some of you have visited Hyperion. Hyperion has a digester where they take all the solids that come in and they remove all of the methane and sell it to scattergoods so that they can run their gas turbines. And I mean, that's happening now. And so we're looking at more and more renewable natural gas coming from dairies, as well as landfills. And the thing about renewable natural gas, and there are some who don't want to consider it as renewable, but if you think about it, if we don't capture that and put it into the pipeline and use it, all it's going to do is go up into the atmosphere and create greenhouse gases. So those that say renewable natural gas isn't a real thing, I beg to differ. And we'd love to have conversations with them to try to make them see the science behind it. So more and more renewable natural gas is going to be available. We're at roughly about 2% now. We're almost at 2%. We want to get 5% renewable natural gas in our system. And it's wonderful to be able to do that because that's our initial contribution to try to decarbonize our gas and also to help meet those climate goals.
I'm glad you brought up the landfill situation. So back in the day when I was an environmental consultant, one of my jobs was going to landfills and taking something called a PID, which was a photoionization detector, dropping it down one of the pipes to test how much methane was there for the lower explosive limit, or LEL. We were not capturing, we were not using. This was just off-gassing into the atmosphere. But my job was to see if it was going to blow up and see how much methane gas was concentrated. So I love the fact that rather than just letting it float into the atmosphere, letting it be a potential high hazard risk for blowing up, taking it, extracting it, and using it. That's the best use. I mean, I can't think of another use for it, honestly, because before we were just letting it go into the atmosphere. So I do love that. And carbon capture has been an ongoing discussion as of recently, as with sequestration, which I have a really hard time pronouncing. What are you guys doing? I know it's a horrible word. From that word in particular for me, I can never say. What are you guys working on with respect to that technology?
So carbon capture, I think it's considered blue hydrogen. So industries that have the carbon that's going out into the atmosphere, instead of allowing that to happen, we're capturing that and able to put it back into the system. And so it works a little bit, it's part of the hydrogen solution. There's green hydrogen, there's blue hydrogen. I learned the other day there's even pink hydrogen and a whole bunch of other different colors.
Pink hydrogen.
Yeah, pink hydrogen is nuclear. So hydrogen is out there, and it's in abundance. And that kind of leads me to the next item I want to talk about, which is power to gas. So now we have an abundant supply of wind and solar, which is fantastic. I'm glad that we're able to harness that and turn it into an energy. But what's happening now is that there's such an abundant supply, but the supply is abundant when we don't need it.
Yep.
And then when we do need it, it's not there. And there's no way to capture and store that abundant solar and wind electricity currently. So we end up paying others to take it off our hands because it doesn't fit.
People don't know that.
People don't know that. And when I say that to them, they're surprised, and a lot of them don't believe it, but it's the truth. It won't fit on our grid. We need to keep that energy within the state and within our system. And one way to do that is with power to gas. And so through an electrolysis process, we take that excess electricity from wind and solar, and we turn it into hydrogen. And then we can store it in our gas pipelines, and we can store it long term. It's not like battery storage. It is there, readily available. So we're investigating on how we can do that. There's a blending that has to be done with hydrogen and gas so that we can do it safely. But this is technology that is occurring in other parts of the world, and we want to bring that here to SoCal and also really to our nation. And we are involved with that. We are engaged with that, and we're going to make it happen.
One of the things I love that you brought up initially was diversification of energy. And Joy brought it up too. We can't just have one form, and everyone's focused on electric. And electric is fabulous, and I love it. But Joy and I have talked repeatedly about lack of raw materials, lack of storage capabilities, lack of infrastructure. The time it takes to charge a car is excessive, and the range isn't that great. Now, all of that's being worked on, and everyone's trying very, very hard to improve on all of those things. But I honestly believe that we need to have multiple forms of energy, including gas. I'm not too sure about nuclear. I have people that have said yes and no. I honestly don't know what to think about it right now. So I won't even get into the pink hydrogen, which is a new term I learned today. But we need to have multiple forms, multiple options. Because if we rely on just one form of electricity or energy, that could easily be tampered with and easily be interrupted. And we can't do that.
And the example I like to use, and I use this example because I think it helps people understand. I'm a big fire show fan. I watch all these fire shows, but if you notice on a fire truck, they have all these tools, and depending on the job, they pull out the tool to solve that problem. And I look at our energy situation the same way. But if you think about it, what if those firefighters were told you can only use one tool, and that tool was selected by an elected official or a legislator who knew nothing about their work, and they just said, hey, you have to use this tool and that's it. I mean, they wouldn't be able to do their jobs effectively. So the energy system, to me, is the same way. We have a lot of tools that are in our big fire truck called California. And we need to be able to pull the tool out that works for us. So solar and wind works great during the day when the sun is shining or when the wind is blowing. But in the evening hours at night, when there is no sun, there is no wind, then we need natural gas to keep the electricity going. We need to use hydrogen when it's available, or or if your industry can support that. But if your industry can't support hydrogen, then you can use renewable natural gas. So we need to be able to have all these tools available to us and not just focus on one. And I'm with you. I like electricity, but sometimes electricity goes out, and when it goes out, I can still cook. I can still heat my water. I can do all those things. And so part of sustainability isn't just decarbonization or I mean, part of sustainability is also affordability, it's reliability, it's resiliency. It's all those things that are tied into one. And I know Joy was mentioning earlier about changing over the electricity so that you can have a charger. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can afford an electric vehicle. Not everybody can afford electric appliances or redoing their entire electric at home. And so we need to be able to have a lot of options for everyone to meet their goals.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up the affordability, because we have discussed that repeatedly, and it's primarily affordability for the middle class. So, underserved areas, they get a lot of services. People who are very wealthy, they just buy it anyway. The middle class, which is continuously shrinking, they don't get any of those benefits, and yet they're going to be forced into buying, an electric car shortly, or, have an electric charger. So we do need diversification. We do need an option for everybody that works for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've gone down to some of the SoCal Gas's community meetings and really seeing how you all are translating the energy conversation in areas that haven't really gotten the message or really don't understand what's going on with the evolution of energy here, not only in the state, but in the world. And, I've never felt like SoCal Gas was ramming something down people's throat, just giving the information so that people can make enlightened and intelligent decisions on even something as simple as using gas in their home to cook, making sure that the community really understands some of the things that the gas company is trying to do, that it's not just about the gas company and the gas company's bottom line, your commitment to the future. So you guys have a lot of soldiers out there really spreading the message of what our new future is going to look like in a middle class area, as well as a rich area, as well as a underserved area. Your message is consistent, and I for one, really appreciate you guys for that.
Thank you, Joy. Yeah, and that's a good point, because our customers don't just use gas. We have restaurateurs, and their system runs on natural gas. That's part of their cooking process. So for them to be told you can no longer, use gas and you have to use a different source, I think we should have the choice to do that. I mean, if I'm a restaurateur and my process is cooking with electric, I should be able to do that. But if my process is cooking with gas, I should be able to do that also. So I don't think any of us should be told what source of energy to be used. I think it makes sense to set the goals and then allow individuals, states or cities or industries to figure out what is the best way to reach those goals with the processes that they have in place. And so I appreciate that, Joy. And yes, we are out there communicating. There's nothing more interesting than a mother who likes cooking on her oven, and we tell her that there's a possibility it could be taken away from them, and they their eyes get wide and they're like, "You mean they're talking about taking away my oven?"
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I've seen you create the movement. Like, actually, some of the famous restaurants in South LA, like Doolin's and different soul food restaurants, have actually come out to your events to let people know the importance, which I never really thought of as a single non-cooking lady, the powers of being able to cook with gas. I mean, you've really been able to create movement and discussions around different things that the community comes up in arms about, the wanting to use natural gas as opposed to electric. I mean, you've really made these forefront issues where people have really felt like they've been able to voice their opinion in their community. I find it to be quite amazing, actually.
Right, and I just want to stress, this is not a gas versus electric debate. We need them both.
Right.
We need to be able to choose which one we're going to use. And to your point, Joy, I've talked with operators of hotels, and hopefully eventually we'll be able to get back to events. And when we have those events and they're bringing out meals for 300 people, they've told me that they cannot do that with electric, that it takes natural gas to get that heat up to where it needs to, so that they can get that food out quickly and in time. So we just need to be thoughtful, just as citizens, but also as decision makers, to be thoughtful about what we're doing and the impact that it has on industries.
Absolutely. So we're going to close out because we've actually surpassed our 20 minutes. But Joy, I will let you close out, and then Mike, any last words, and then we thank you.
Well, I just want to thank Mike for coming on. Like I said, I see his team in the streets, in the communities, and I mean deep in the communities, where I don't see a lot of other utilities / stakeholder interest. And the messaging that I'm even able to take back to the legislature, to be even able to work on bills like 662 to help get hydrogen really out in the streets and infrastructure for vehicles even. So I really appreciate you coming on the show. I really look forward to people being able to follow you and see what you're doing at SoCal Gas. I don't know if there's any way people can get in touch with you or your team. Maybe what's one of the best websites to be able to follow what's going on in the gas discussion?
Yeah, the SoCalGas.com site is an excellent site to find out what we're doing. We are active in social media, so you can find us on Twitter, Facebook. Me myself, I'm on Twitter. I don't understand Facebook, but Twitter is. But I'm there, and we are invested in the communities that we serve, and we want to be a positive force, whether it's energy or community support or education. We want to make sure that people understand, that our customers understand, the general public, that they understand that SoCal Gas is part of the solution, and that we are working on solutions to all of our climate problems. And we're going to be there, and we're not going away, because there's a lot of work to do, and it takes a lot of us to do that work. So we are committed.
And I love that. I absolutely love the fact that you guys are doing so much. And thank you for coming on the show just to explain that to the general public, so they understand you guys are not just processing gas through pipelines. You are doing so much more with the renewable energy world. So on that, I thank you again. This has been a great conversation, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. And I will say goodbye.